Hi everyone, my name is Danielle Pira and I am here to talk about screen time curfews, what they are, but more importantly why we need them, especially when we're talking about our youth. So what is screen time? Screen time is any time that someone is using a technological device. It's mostly referred to cell phone, computer, and tablet usage, and it may mean time spent on the internet or social media. So we know our youth really like to engage on social media, so that time that they're on there can also be considered screen time. And time on devices have increased significantly in the last few years. Again, with screen time, it's any time on a device. So this can also include time on Netflix, watching a movie on your computer or on your cell phone. YouTube is also included in this. Any apps, any gaming, any time that you see a youth or even us as adults on our cell phones doing something can be considered screen time. So there's benefits to technology that we're all aware of and the internet. Easy access to information. Everything is right there, right in a click away. We can Google something and something comes up in less than 20 seconds. While that has some negatives, it's mostly beneficial. A lot of our youth are utilizing it for school projects, to get information about things, to look up answers to things. Maybe they're researching some stuff. A lot of times back in the day, you had to go out, you had to go to the library, maybe get a book, see if the information you need is even in that book. With the internet, we're able to kind of utilize it to pinpoint exactly what we need, and be able to get it like right away. Communication and social media is also on here. A lot of times our youth are communicating through our cell phones, whether it's texting, maybe it's messaging apps, maybe it's social media, it's Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. While they have negatives, again, they also have some benefits. Maybe some of our youth have family members that aren't close by. Maybe they have friends that aren't close by. Maybe they moved out of state, someone else moved out of state. It allows our youth to stay connected and feel connected, and that also has some positive effects on them. Sometimes youth may even use games on social media, on our tablets or on technology as well. But again, I'm here to talk about curfew times, screen time curfews, and why they're important. Because while there's some benefits to social media, to the internet, and to having technology, there are some negatives as well. Right now, teens averagely spend about 7 hours and 22 minutes per day on screen time, on screens. And this doesn't include them doing homework. That is a large chunk of time for our youth to be online. And if you think about all the things that our youth or teens and even kids have to do during the average day, 7 hours is cutting in somewhere. So something's going to be lacking. And in this presentation, you'll learn that it's more than likely their sleep time that gets affected. The 8-year-old statistic also changed. It increased. Now 19% of 8-year-olds have cell phones. And that's not just a flip phone that we used to have back in the day. These are smartphones. So they have access to games, social media, internet, things like that. And 8 to 12-year-olds, they found they spend about 4 average daily on a screen a day. So 75% of teens do not get the recommended sleep time of 8 to 10 hours. So again, I said that this average here is going to affect something. Most of the time it's going to affect their sleep. So in most cases, teens are reporting waking up 1 to 3 times a night to check their cell phone. And if that cuts into their sleep time, we find that there's certain effects of that. So due to increased screen time, teens are admitting to waking up in the middle of the night and staying up on their devices. This causes different effects. So in recent studies, they found that teenagers now are more likely to show signs of being stressed. They're more likely to show signs of being anxious. They're more likely to show signs of being depressed. But if we take into consideration what getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep means and what that looks like, a lot of times the lack of sleep are causing those symptoms. Maybe they're not really truly anxious in the clinical sense, but their lack of sleep is causing them to function in a way that shows or perceives itself to be anxiety. So a lot of times the lack of sleep can affect the youth in their school. It can affect them in their social lives. It can affect their relationships, just like it is for adults. Lack of sleep. I know when I get a lack of sleep, I'm cranky, I'm tired, I want to go to bed, I'm a little bit more short. Now put the pressure of all the things that our teens are going through. It's been scientifically proven that teens experience more stress than an adult does. So lack of sleep really impacts that. And if it's because of screen time, then it only makes sense for us to cut that screen time and make a curfew for them. So some examples for curfews can be a docking station. This is where you take all the technology and all of it in the house and maybe have it in a central location where they all charge overnight, and maybe you hand it back in the morning when they're going to school or getting ready for their day. Limiting technology allowed in their rooms. So some parents may only allow a TV in their rooms. Maybe you allow technology in their rooms for only a certain amount of time. So come 8 o'clock, the cell phone comes out. Come 9 o'clock, the laptop comes out. Things like that. Setting up times that the youth can use the cell phone. So maybe you say after school, 3 to 5 o'clock, you can use the cell phone, but then there's a chunk of time that you will be focused on your homework, or maybe some family time or some friends, or maybe it's playing a sport or something recreational to kind of give the youth the whole holistic love feeling. Putting phones in the hallways when curfew is up. As another example, keeping all technology in a parent's room is a way to make sure, because I know a lot of parents will say, well, I fall asleep before my teenager, or I'm sleeping, and what if they sneak out in the hallway and grab it? Keeping it in your room kind of adds that little bit more security to it, so it allows for them to know that they're not going to be able to try and sneak in and grab it. Or I know nowadays there's a lot of different apps that can be used to kind of help the youth in sense of setting times that they're allowed on certain things. So maybe you shut the internet off. I know some parents will turn the Wi-Fi off at a certain time of the night, so that way it's a universal family thing, not directed just towards the teenager in the house. Most of my sources are going to come from Screenagers, the movie. It's a great movie to watch if you are interested in the effects of social media and the effects of technology on our youth. They recently just came out with a second movie that discusses more of the depression, anxiety angle of technology and what we experience with that. Are there any questions? Nope. Thank you.